welcome back to my channel. If you're new here and haven't met me before, my name is Cassie Amber and I'm a holistic nutritionist, and I'm going to be taking you through a very controversial and in-depth analysis today. So it's keto versus vegan versus plant-based diet comparison. So I wanted to write a very in-depth blog post, which I've done, and I just spent a lot of time listening to other people's stories, doing a lot of research, and I'm just so interested in how can different diets be both leading if they are so opposite. So how do people know which one to do? How do you make sure you're not damaging your health further? What's the right choice? So I did put all of those comparisons into one big blog post with all the research and all the studies, so I'll link that below so it's all in one place. But I decided to do a video as well because some people find that more consumable rather than lots of reading, and yeah, I just thought it would be a good idea. So keep the comments a kind place, we can have mature conversations, and I think that is the best thing, is just having chats with people and just understanding different people's point of view and challenging your own perspective to gain a proper understanding of everything. So no hateful comments to one diet or the other, but yeah, I will be going quite in depth about it and just giving you the right knowledge that you need to know. A couple of the other things I'll touch on is, are there any physical or mental health impacts of going vegan, and how do you know which diet to choose for optimum health? So if you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and yeah, let's get into the video. I did also want to mention that right at the time of filming, I'm just publishing my brand new free 7-day Real Food Real Quick challenge. So I'll just send you an email each day of the week with a different topic and do a bit of a discussion and a comparison. Then I've also got some free bonus recipes for my Eat From the Earth meal guide. So there's pumpkin spice chia pudding, pesto, tofu bites, and lots of nice little things in there. So if you're interested in that and want to learn about gut health and all these different things, then head to the link in the description and you can sign up for free. So before we begin, I will be reading a few things off my computer from the actual blog post, but I just wanted to mention that please understand that everybody is different. There is no one size fits all. Some people have more difficulty absorbing nutrients than others. Some people have food allergies and intolerances. Some may see results in different ways, and most importantly, your happiness comes first. So it's important to find your individual balance to ensure your lifestyle is sustainable long term rather than falling into the yo-yo trap. So when it comes to the ketogenic diet, what do people often do wrong? So I've heard people proudly say it's not expensive because you just buy the cheap, shitty cuts of meat, and they load up on cheese, butter, cream, and carcinogenic processed meats like bacon and salami. Most do not upkeep an adequate intake of veggies, and fruit is not allowed except for berries, which means we're missing out on essential nutrients. The one thing I just always refer back to is you can't even eat a banana, and a banana is a genuine health food. It is very good for you. It just seems very, very restrictive, to be honest. So some of the pros of the keto diet: weight loss is achieved as you tend to substantially lower your calorie intake for the day by cutting out a whole food group. However, studies show that most of this is just water weight, not fat loss. So there was a study done where people, I think they stayed in this place for a whole month. So for 2 weeks they ate keto, for 2 weeks they ate plant-based, and yeah, halfway through both participants switched. There was no restriction on the food. They were allowed to eat however much they wanted, and the people who ate the plant-based diet experienced more fat loss, whereas the keto diet experienced more water loss. So the plant-based diet was more effective overall for the health of your body, if that makes sense, but you could still eat as much as you want and not have to feel restricted or deprived. It encourages you to steer away from processed sugary foods. It can result in increased energy levels. It has reduced blood sugar and insulin levels, which can treat and possibly even reverse type 2 diabetes. And it may lower blood pressure and is effective against metabolic syndrome. And when I did do a plant-based Q&A with my Instagram friend in America, so I'll link that video now if you want to check it out later. We did briefly discuss that when people do the ketogenic diet, she said she feels for people who see maybe their family or friends doing it and they're dropping off all this weight, and it just seems like the best thing to do. But really, you don't, it's just a focus on external health. It's like, yeah, I want to drop these pounds, but it doesn't take into factor anything else that's actually important, if that makes sense. So some of the cons: it has a high saturated fat content which can clog your arteries and increase your risk of chronic disease. People often opt for low quality meat and processed meat, which is a class 1 carcinogen linked to cancer. Instead, it should be more balanced with plant-based fat sources such as avocado, olives, nuts and seeds, which actually promote heart health. It is not recommended long term and can result in weight fluctuations and food binges in some people. People often get stressed with dining out or grabbing food on the go. Constipation and bad breath are common side effects. It can lead to yo-yo dieting. You are missing out on a variety of important nutrients from genuinely healthy foods. What I mentioned earlier, you can't even eat a banana or oats. The keto diet has an all or nothing approach with no in between. Eating a lot of animal foods on the keto diet can lead to more acidic urine and a higher risk of kidney stones. This acidic state can also worsen the progression of chronic kidney disease. Carb intake on the keto diet is typically limited to fewer than 50 grams per day, which can come as a shock to your body. As your body depletes its carb stores and switches to using ketones and fat for fuel, at the start of this eating pattern, you may experience flu-like symptoms. These include headaches, dizziness, fatigue, nausea, and constipation, due in part to dehydration and electrolyte imbalances that happen as your body adjusts to ketosis. Some studies suggest the keto diet doesn't provide enough calcium, potassium, vitamin D, magnesium, phosphorus, or other vitamins and minerals depending on the person. The keto diet may reduce your bone mineral density and trigger bone breakdown over time. Once again, this is all just notes that I've found from different studies and research that have been done. Whilst research is mixed, some evidence suggests that low-carb diets that focus on animal foods may lead to higher death rates from heart disease, cancer, and other degenerative disease. It is not suitable for everyone on the planet to eat such large amounts of animal products with the state the world is in. Once again, when I did the plant-based Q&A with my friend Alison, who's another plant-based girl on Instagram, she mentioned that in some kind of study that she saw, that if everyone was to eat grass-fed, this is just another side topic, if everyone was to eat grass-fed, that we would need 4 earths to fit all the animals. So although it may be better for the animals' happiness to not be in such small spaces, and it's better for them and it will be a better quality cut of meat, we can't feed everyone that all the time. So either we just reduce our consumption massively and save it as a treat, but we literally cannot sustain these lifestyles with feeding all of these animals. Another fact that she brought up with in the Q&A was a study done on so eating chicken, even though that's probably the most sustainable source of meat that we can get our hands on because they're not a huge mammal, it still takes 4 like the ratio of what we get out of a chicken based off what we feed them is still 4 to 1. So the calories we would get from just eating plants on its own is far more beneficial. We could literally resolve world hunger tomorrow if people just ate more plant-based meals and reduced their animal product intake. So it's just not possible for the world. There's no other way of putting it. All in all, I feel people use keto as an excuse to eat all of the less healthy foods such as bacon, cheese, processed fatty meat, and more. They are too focused on external short-term weight loss instead of internal or overall health. So I think people do, because those foods are satisfying for people, they're salty, they're fatty, they think, oh, if I can just lose weight and eat bacon McMuffin, not without the bread, bacon and all the stuff, then of course they're going to want to do it because they think that any other kind of healthy food tastes gross, but it is really not good for your insides, and most people are not getting enough fiber and stuff like that. So I do have a few images here of unhealthy versus healthy keto meals. So sorry if you're vegan, I'm not trying to recommend all this meat consumption, but I just want to show what an actual balanced meal looks like from a nutrition point of view. So we've got heaps of fatty ass meat. This is photos that people have posted on Instagram, and people are literally eating this. It makes me want to be sick. So in here we've got the lettuce cups with ham. It's a carcinogen. It is not a health food. And then all this barbecuing with all this fatty ass cheese that's very, very high in saturated fat, sausages. You can see the oil on top of these meals. Is quite horrifying. And then in the healthy one, I've just put lean cuts of meat. It's got nice colourful veggies, a range of different nutrients. It's got some healthy fats in there like some avocado, and it's just much more balanced. So it's not that keto is impossible or it's all bad. There is a way to do it if that diet is suitable for you. So I really want to emphasize that it's not like it's not that no one can do it, but there's a way of doing it so it's not so horrifying. I'm not sure what other words to use. So just adding a lot more colour, adding a lot more veggies, adding a lot more fibre, mixing the animal sources with more plant-based sources like the nuts and seeds and everything that you can see in here. So I just wanted to do that comparison just for an actual nutrition standpoint so you can get a bit of an idea. So let's go into the vegan category. So the vegan diet has absolutely blown up over the last few years as more and more people are discovering the benefits for their health, animal welfare and the planet. There is the utmost controversy over this topic, and most of the general public are quite against the idea. I guess because they believe it will be detrimental to their health and don't know what else there is left to eat after removing animal products from their diet. I truly feel that this movement is here to stay, as by transitioning to plant-based foods we can end world hunger and climate change and stop some chronic illness in its tracks. Veganism is avoiding the exploitation of animals at all costs, including meat, dairy, eggs, honey, leather, fur, makeup and other products that have been tested on animals. There are many vegans all over the world who are absolutely thriving. They maintain a healthy weight almost effortlessly. They are bounding with energy, have a beautiful glow to their skin and are living their best life. However, there are also vegans who aren't looking after themselves as well as they could. They look washed out, they have brittle hair, low energy, and can be overweight or underweight from opting for too many processed vegan foods instead of whole foods or not eating enough calories. I truly believe this can happen on any diet, whether animal products are eaten or not, as many meat eaters are still nutrient deficient. So let's have a look at some of the pros of a vegan diet. It is a spiritual experience of giving back and finding purpose as you contribute to something greater than yourself and eat in line with your values. You can save the planet as most of our resources go towards the production of meat and dairy, but we would use much lower amounts if we used the land and water for plant-based food instead, as the calories go much further. Livestock are our biggest contributor to rainforest destruction due to space to raise the animals and grow soy for their feed. Tofu and soy milk are not the culprits. Just a note on that, I did do some research because I have some friends who are pretty much vegan and very interested in plant-based eating, and we were talking about plant-based milks one day and they said, oh no, you shouldn't be drinking soy milk because that's why the Amazon rainforest is being cut down, is for soy. So 77% of global soy is fed to livestock for meat and dairy production, and as I mentioned before, you need so much food just to get out one piece of meat, so it is really unproductive as a society, I guess you could say. Most of the rest is used for biofuels, industry or vegetable oils. Only 7% of soy is directly used for human food products such as tofu, soy milk, edamame beans and tempeh. So we're only taking up 7% of that's happening in the rainforest. So we could literally save the forest because we get so many calories from eating the soy directly. Vegans tend to be thinner and have lower body mass indexes than non-vegans. Vegan diets may reduce the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. They are also particularly effective at reducing blood sugar levels and may help prevent further medical issues from developing. Certain aspects of the vegan diet may offer protection against prostate, breast, and colon cancers. Vegan diets may benefit heart health by significantly reducing the risk factors that contribute to heart disease. Vegan diets based on probiotic-rich whole foods can significantly decrease symptoms of osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. Plant-based foods are typically lower in calories, so weight loss and effortless weight maintenance are common positive side effects. A vegan diet may help reduce food costs. Meat, dairy, and seafood are often expensive, whilst beans, legumes, rice, grains, oats, and potatoes can be the cheapest foods we have available to us. Indulging in dairy-free cheeses, vegan chocolate, and other alternatives, such as milks and mock meats, can ramp up the cost, however. This can make it easier to feed a family on a budget or even eat well if you're a student or someone with a lower income. So that is definitely true. I find that I probably spend more because I can treat myself, so I enjoy buying the mock meats. I don't often buy the cheeses because it is pricey for what you get out of it, but you can make it as expensive as you want to make it, or you can feed. I know I've seen videos of people who are going mostly vegan literally just because they're trying to budget so they can buy a house or do something like that. So it can be very, very cheap and still nourishing for your body. By comparison, the farming of vegan-friendly plants requires fewer resources than the production of typical Western foods such as meat, poultry, and dairy. Cows also produce more greenhouse gases than plants do, which leads to the conclusion that eating vegan helps to reduce the risk of global warming. Now, with the cons of a vegan diet, it is necessary to monitor your nutrient levels, as some things cannot be found in plant foods or only in very small amounts. They may not be as easily absorbed by the body. You need to eat more volume and variety, but once again, I embrace this and use it to my advantage. Stack your plate up. Vegans experience a lot of backlash and judgment from society or even their close friends, partner, and family. I see some pretty sad things in the vegan Facebook groups where these women are trying to eat in line with their values and their husbands won't even try their food and they just completely disrespect them, and it really is just about understanding where that person is coming from and meeting in the middle. But to not even taste their food, that's pretty offensive, to be honest. Poorly planned vegan diets may provide insufficient amounts of essential fatty acids, vitamin B12, vitamin D, iron, calcium, iodine, and zinc. So it is important to plan your meals out and just be smart about it. Just don't live off takeaways and low nutrient dense food. You really need to be nourishing your body with a wide range of colorful whole foods, and then everything kind of just falls into place, but you've got to be sensible about it. You need to be a lot more diligent with reading nutrition labels, as milk products and eggs are found in almost everything. Even wine is filtered through fish bladder. I put a little note here of something I found online. So popular animal derived fining agents are used in the production of wine, including blood and bone marrow, casein, which is milk protein, chitin, fiber from crustacean shells, egg albumin derived from egg whites, fish oil, gelatin, and fish bladder membranes. I just drink normal wine, to be honest. I don't do everything 100%, so I don't really worry about things like that. But if you are worried about it, then you've got to buy vegan wine as well. Although it is a lot easier today than many years ago, there can still be some difficulty with dining out if restaurants and cafes do not accommodate or if chefs do not understand what veganism is. I usually check the menu beforehand or make adjustments to meals as needed. So when I go out, I've usually just got my go-to cafes or restaurants, and they've just got great options. Otherwise, most places are becoming better, but sometimes it might be better to order sides or just ask them to hold off on certain ingredients if you don't think it will be vegan. Once you get going, it's easy to navigate, but if you're just starting out, it might take some time to kind of learn what to do and feel more confident when you're going out for food. There are still a number of heavily processed vegan foods, such as some of the mock meats, some chocolate, biscuits, ice cream, and more. So just because it's vegan, it doesn't mean it's healthy, but it's still nice to have those treats every now and then. Some may suffer from isolation, especially at family gatherings or events where the meal may be centered around animal products. I always recommend taking your own big salad, a veggie lasagna, mushroom and lentil sausage rolls, spinach and tofu chili rolls, etc. If it's a barbecue, I'll usually bring my own vegan chicken patty or schnitzel and veggie sausages or a burger patty. So some of the dishes there, it's literally just free recipes on my website, so I'll link those below as well. I usually find them a huge hit with my family. When it was Christmas time, I made those lentil mushroom sausage rolls, and all of my uncles who are huge men and love meat, they were wondering what I was cooking, and then once they ate it, everyone just thinks it's the best thing ever. So it's definitely about just changing their perspective and doing it all in a very positive way and just getting people interested in it. And I just find it fun finding alternatives and stuff like that as well. When people first make the switch, they may find themselves constantly hungry and not feeling satisfied. This is because you need to eat more than before and bulk up your meals with beans, legumes, quinoa, rice, starchy veggies, nuts and seeds. Don't just rely on lettuce leaves. So I was talking to this girl who was trying to get her boyfriend to go vegan, and he had a physical hard labor job that was outdoors all day, and he just kept complaining to her that he wasn't full, wasn't feeling satisfied. And you really need to stack up. Like, I take huge bags of food whenever I just go to a day of work. I only do 5-hour shifts at the health store, but I'll take a big hearty salad, or you can add roast veggies into it and nuts and seeds, and add quinoa to your green salad, just so everything's a lot more filling. And I'll sip on a protein shake during the day, then I'll have a protein bar or like a healthy muesli slice or some yogurt and banana. I take so much food to work with me, but it's really not about restriction at all. You've really got to make sure you've got lots of different things to choose from, crackers and hummus, anything. It's really, really easy once you get the hang of it, but make sure you're eating enough and getting everything you need. Veganism is a common diet choice among those with orthorexia, which is an eating disorder that obsesses over only healthy or clean foods. Vegans often put animals before their own health and suffer from some side effects without ever looking into it. Examples are low energy, hormonal imbalances, brain fog, brittle hair and nails, feeling washed out in the face, etc. I have experienced some of these symptoms myself, and it just took a few tweaks in my diet, lifestyle and environment to get back to optimum performance. Vegans shouldn't ignore red flags, so please look into any issues you may experience. I like to describe your health as the energy you bring into this world, and the world needs you. So I did experience that. Basically, just a quick rundown there, I only do 90 to 95% plant-based. If you don't follow me and you haven't heard me talk about this before, so I still eat salmon a few times a month, and I eat eggs from my own chickens, but never from the supermarket. So sometimes I'll not even feel like salmon or fish at all, and just feel like, oh, should I get some? Oh no, I just really don't feel like it. Sometimes I go in there and I just really feel like it. It's always depending on the time of my cycle and my hormones and stuff. So I'm in tune enough with my body to know that that's what I need, and that's what makes me feel better instantly, and that's it, kind of thing. And I do enjoy the odd fish burger from like a fish and chip restaurant as a treat. And once I started introducing eggs back into my diet, my brain fog went away. I felt a lot like I had more color in my face, and I just felt like I could concentrate for longer and all of those things. So put your health first, because that's the energy you give to the world. That's how you're going to make a difference, but just do it in a way that's as kind as possible to the animals, and just, not, instead of saying, oh, veganism isn't working for me, and quitting and eating the normal westernized diet and heaps of animal products, I just do a most of the time approach, so I can still have those treats. Some people like to eat vegan or plant-based during the week and eat what they like in the weekends, so if they're dining out, they can have a treat that is still going to make such a huge impact to our world and for the animals, and for your health. So it doesn't have to mean you've got to give up everything, but if you're feeling great, then awesome, stick to what you're doing. If you're not, get some tests done. Are there certain vitamins and minerals you're low in? Can you supplement with something? Can you switch around a few ingredients? I've been told to eat more tahini. That should help with a few things, and it's also really good for calcium. So it doesn't have to mean that you've got to give up veganism, but just make sure that you're really feeling your optimum, feeling like you're at your optimum peak. Hello, sweetheart. This is my beautiful girl Millie. So now we'll head onto the plant-based section. So the difference between veganism and plant-based: veganism is, as I mentioned earlier, avoiding the exploitation of animals at any cost. Plant-based is more a diet based around plants. So some may avoid animal products altogether, while some may limit animal products to 10% or less of their diet. So it's more focused on the health, and it is definitely going to benefit the animals and the planet as well. But veganism is usually for the animals and the environment, and a plant-based diet is more for the nutritional benefits. So this approach offers a little more freedom to do what's right for you as an individual and find your balance. It can be a little less intimidating dining out or attending social gatherings, or can be a great way to transition to veganism. After years on this journey, I've done it for 3.5 years now, I've found a balance that works for me, which is 90 to 95% plant-based. I found that eating fish, this is basically what I explained before, but I'm just reading it from my blog post that I did. I found that eating fish, especially salmon, a few times a month, and eggs from my own chickens has really helped with brain fog, having a bit of variety in my protein sources and not feeling so washed out. Please know that everyone is different. Some women find eating red meat only around the time of month benefits them also. I do treat myself to real cheese every couple of months, but enjoy vegan cheese the rest of the time. I also eat a mix of normal and dairy-free chocolate depending on what brands I can get my hands on at the time. I do want to make another video dedicated to this. It's just hard to do it in the right way where you don't offend people, because I don't want vegans to think that I'm not trying hard enough or I'm not doing enough. And then I get comments from other people saying thank you so much for not being so black and white, and it's like it helps them even make the start because it's not so intimidating going all or nothing. So I've got to dedicate a whole video to this, for just figure out how to do it in the right way. But I feel very, very relaxed in my approach, and I just eat plant-based most of the time. And then if I do slip up or have a treat, I'm just like, okay, that was nice, and now I can just carry on. I don't have any extreme food cravings. I have a very healthy relationship with food. Like nothing is off limits, if that makes sense. Most foods I don't want to eat anyway, but later down the track, if I needed to for some reason or felt the need, it's not like you can never have such and such food again for the rest of your life. I just don't want it at this time. So I find that a very healthy approach to have, which works with my mental health, instead of being so fixated on things or binge eating or struggling to stick to it long term kind of thing. So some of the pros of a plant-based diet, the same as all the benefits of the vegan diet as above, or as I mentioned earlier. You may experience more energy compared to a standard Western diet, feeling lighter after meals rather than heavy and lethargic, reduce bloating and gas, improving gut health and digestion, better bowel regularity, slim down body fat, contribute to the health of our planet and animal rights. Some may find this approach more sustainable long term than a full vegan diet. And I've got to touch on the blue zones. I also think I should do a full video on this, breaking it down. The blue zones are the places around the world where people live to 100 years or older with the least amount of degenerative disease, such as diabetes, cancer, heart disease, and obesity. They have all adopted a whole foods plant-based diet with little to no animal products. So this is literally the proof in the pudding. This is what I base my whole diet off. My whole studies were focused on the blue zones. So these people are out there, they're over 100 years old, they're still out in their gardening, they're still out being active, they are happy, they aren't suffering from the same things we do in the Western world. No one is obese or struggling with their weight. No, hardly anyone's got cancer or diabetes or anything like that, and they just eat plant-based. So the research has already been done. You need to look into the China study if you haven't already read it. I'll also link this blog post in the description below, and I'll try to do another video on this at a later date. Plant-based is great for people who may have disordered eating habits, as it doesn't focus on or require calorie counting and portion restriction, unlike most diets. So I really love the fact that it really emphasizes eating more and having more variety and getting excited over foods rather than restriction and reducing and limiting. And it is sustainable and manageable long term. As I said, with that little bit of flexibility, which is 100% up to the individual of how you want to go about it. If something's not working, then you can just change it a little bit to fit your needs. It just allows that freedom to make it work for you and find your balance. Some of the cons are that it requires diligence in meal planning. A positive thing, but could take adjusting to for someone who doesn't often cook. Ensure you monitor your nutrient levels every 1 to 2 years for optimum health. I personally have an extreme fear of blood tests and needles, but I do get hair follicle tests, or I've got a finger scanner, which is kind of like a computer mouse. It reads the energy in your body, and I invested in that for my nutrition business, and it displays any imbalances within the body. That one doesn't give, it's not as clear as a hair follicle test, like showing how much things are out by or whether it's over or under, but it shows things that need attention. So then you can either get a hair follicle test, or if you do want to get a blood test, you can just search for that test for that exact thing. But it's a really good way to gauge it. This one also checks for your mental health. It gives you all your vitamin mineral intake and make sure everything's balanced, and it also shows if you've got any environmental exposure to environmental toxins and things like that. One trick that I heard is just to get tested every year around your birthday, because then at least you kind of just remember every 1 to 2 years, but every year I would say, to be safe, and use prevention rather than waiting for something to get too late and then suffering from something later down the track. There's also no point guessing what you need when it comes to supplements. I also find that doctors usually only check for iron and B12, which is hardly just the surface. So when I was going through some things and I was having really low energy, I have actually fixed it now, but I was kind of wondering, do I need ginseng, or is it my iron, or do I need a B complex? What kind of thing do you need to actually get past the problem? So it was really good to see a healthcare professional, whether you want to see a nutritionist who can test for those things, or a naturopath can usually do that if they specialize in a diet and overall body health as well. Otherwise, going to the doctor and just getting a blood test so you actually know what supplements you need. And it can take time and can be overwhelming at the start until you find alternatives. Be compassionate with yourself and go at your own pace. So in conclusion, I feel too many people use the keto diet as a lose weight quick scheme, and there are an abundance of low quality fatty meals that contribute to negative health impacts. However, I have seen some nice keto recipe books with a fillet of fish and a huge salad, for example. It can be done a right way and a wrong way, but I recommend eating plenty of lean vegetables and monitoring how you feel. Also, if you use the keto diet as a short-term way to lose weight, you still haven't built the fundamental habits and knowledge to sustain it once you revert back to your old eating patterns. So there is one positive thing about plant-based diet and veganism, is literally recommended that it is a suitable long-term diet if it is appropriately planned, but a keto diet is not sustainable long-term, so it can cause that yo-yo dieting, binge eating, and then you haven't actually learnt how to maintain yourself when you're not on it. So I don't think that's a very good thing. A vegan diet is highly valued for its compassion for animals and making a difference to care for the state of the world. It takes everything into account and goes full force. However, I have found some vegans don't even treat each other with respect, even though they are on the same team, let alone the outer world. Of course, this isn't putting everyone into one basket, but more kindness to each other and to the general public about what's right and wrong would definitely inspire more people to join the movement. A conversation about a topic, giving your perspective and sharing knowledge in a mature way is productive and educational. It's a great thing to have your beliefs challenged, but people don't want to feel ridiculed or attacked. It's all in the way we go about it. Be a positive influence in the lives of others. This one can be a little bit hard to navigate because sometimes I feel you've got to put that hard-hitting content out there just to give people that extra bit of nudge to actually help them realize. Because if you're just so nice, like, oh, eat vegan, then no one will really see why. So I think it is important to dabble in that harder hitting stuff that really has an impact on people and makes them think, wow, I didn't actually know that that was the truth, or that is what's going on right now, but not having these huge fights with each other that really don't get anyone anywhere and make both parties just feel horrible. So it's really about inspiring and be a source of knowledge for people, and just trying to go about it in the right way and just being nice to other humans. That's going to be part of it as well. So another example I recently witnessed was a man posted in a vegan group that he was feeling very low in energy and is reconsidering eating eggs as he had tried everything else. Everyone absolutely attacked him, saying it's disgusting and it's not vegan. But what's the point if you feel horrible and not yourself? Isn't it better to introduce a small amount of something back into your diet instead of giving up on the whole thing, which would be an even worse effect for the animals? Choose your source carefully. I would avoid the supermarket and large-scale farming. I also recommend getting a nutrient test done to see if there are specific vegan foods to emphasize more of in your diet. But that's the thing, if he's eating vegan and he's walking around like a zombie and can't even live his life, what's the point? You've got to make a change, and just, as I said before, see what needs to be adjusted, see if you can stay vegan and make some changes within that first. And if you can't, just introduce 5 or 10% of things back into your diet and dabble here and there, and then he might be able to just live like that, but he's still making the biggest difference overall. But don't say that's not even vegan and ridicule them because they're trying to ask for help. A plant-based diet is a promising way to get the wider public to improve their eating habits. It's not as drastic or intimidating as an all or nothing approach, and is a great way to dip your feet in to see what it's like with little pressure. It's a great stepping stone towards veganism and finding what works for your body. So that is it. I've just been reading off that blog post that I wrote because the words are very well conversated, if that makes sense. So I do also have a free 7-day plant-based masterclass series. It's just an introduction into plant-based eating if you want to learn more about it. And this video, it's not to say, oh, those people who are doing keto, like I don't want people to be offended by this. I just want people to see this as a source of education, and it's very I try to think of both parties. So even with the vegan diet, I didn't just say it is all good and nothing bad can happen. I still said that there are some negatives, and even with the plant-based diet, there's still things you've got to look out for. So I try to make it very even-minded and fair to both parties based on the research that I found. And the research that I found is that keto is not possible for the world to sustain. It is worse for your internal organs. You experience more fat loss on a plant-based diet, which is easier to maintain your BMI, like your body mass index and body composition, and it's just a better choice overall. So I just want you to take this information and decide what you want to do. Do you want to move into things slowly? Try out meatless Mondays as a start. If you're someone who eats meat 7 times a day, maybe 7 times a week, maybe twice a day, maybe try out meatless Mondays. You can enroll in my free 7-day course, and I'll link the other free Real Food Real Quick challenge. So that's just, I just want to put my education out there so you can make informed decisions, because I don't want people making the wrong decision and then actually being worse off from it. So I hope you like this video. Please leave the comment section in a kind place, and it's really important to have mature conversations around this. And I'll link my socials below if you want to follow me on Instagram or Facebook as well. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you learned something and took something valuable away from this, and I'll see you in the next video.